What if one lone human soldier could take on an entire alien hive mind? It started as an ordinary battle, or so it seemed. In the dark depths of an alien cave, deep beneath the planet Calathar, an ancient being known only as Proto watched with amusement. Proto wasn't like any enemy the humans had ever faced. His mind stretched across countless bodies, avatars made from the remains of many species. He could move his thoughts like water through the battlefield, reaching out to command every extension of his being. To him, the idea of a fragmented human army was laughable. Their tactics were clumsy and uncoordinated compared to the flawless unity of his collective mind. In a vast cavern that looked like a natural cathedral, bioluminescent fungus glowed on the walls, and mineral-rich pools formed on the floor. Here, Proto's core rested, a grotesque, deformed mass once called a man. Its skull had swollen to an impossible size, its thin limbs nearly useless, all connected by a network of nutrient tubes and neural transmitters. It was a horrifying sight, yet it pulsed with the dark satisfaction of a mind that had conquered countless worlds. Proto's network was built on a method of conversion that was as simple as it was brilliant. With just one bite, his avatars infected their targets with a retrovirus that rewired their very being. Most species succumbed within 48 hours, their consciousness slowly replaced by Proto's own. But humans were different. When infected, they would often choose to end their lives rather than surrender to the alien will. Still, Proto had managed to capture a few who had not lost hope or the will to resist. Every time a human avatar was added to his network, his understanding of the battlefield expanded. Every sense sharpened as he spread his thoughts among his many extensions. On the western ridge, 3 human avatars moved in perfect unison, flanking a human artillery unit. They didn't need to speak to each other. Their actions were perfectly synchronized. 2 arms from each body wielded plasma cutters that sliced through the enemy lines, leaving defenders frozen in terror. At the same time, on the eastern front, another of Proto's avatars, clad in bone plating and armed with precision, calculated the exact points to bring down human shelters, causing them to collapse one by one. The humans, caught off guard by the sudden destruction of their positions, had no time to alert their commanders. Their screams were swallowed by the chaos that Proto had created in a quiet room at the central command post. A human avatar who once served as Lieutenant Hammond absorbed vital tactical information. Unaware of the danger that lurked behind him, he continued with the briefing, relying on technology that could not detect the active retrovirus running its course in Proto's infected hosts. With every passing moment, Proto's network grew stronger, his will echoing across the battlefield with perfect clarity. There was no room for hesitation or mistakes in his vast, unified mind. Only the cold efficiency of a strategy that left nothing to chance. But as the battle raged, something unexpected happened. In the southwestern quadrant, 6 avatars of another species, known as the Mazarans, went silent all at once. Proto felt it like the sudden loss of a limb, a gap where there should have been seamless connection. It was an ambush, but not one he had planned for. Nearby, 3 Gronarch avatars were moving in to secure the area, their heavy bone plating deflecting small arms fire effortlessly. Then, a pair of human avatars, quietly following with long-range scanners, caught his attention. They weren't part of any coordinated plan that Proto recognized. These humans were acting on their own, outside the strict lines of command that his network had so carefully infiltrated. That Proto's mind raced as he scanned the battlefield. A human scout, hidden among the rocks about 2 kilometers away, was silently observing the scene. The landscape around the scout was rugged, with low scrub and jagged rock formations. To the north, a lonely communications tower stood as a silent witness, its metal frame dull in the fading light. To the south, a distant mountain range loomed, hazy and mysterious. The scout's view was clear, a perfect spot for someone who knew how to pick a target. It wasn't long before the scout's actions confirmed Proto's suspicion. The human had just taken down 20 of his avatars without so much as a warning. Proto felt a strange mix of irritation and disbelief. Here was a single human soldier, operating completely outside the normal chain of command, and yet managing to cause chaos in his otherwise perfect system. The soldiers' precision and independence were both a mystery and a threat. Where most humans relied on a fragmented and clumsy hierarchy, this one acted alone, guided by something that Proto couldn't quite understand. The soldier was a sniper, hidden high in the ruined communications tower. From that vantage point, he could see the battlefield without the interference of noise and clutter. For the first time in centuries, Proto experienced a hint of genuine surprise. How could one human, unbound by orders and bureaucracy, achieve so much? It was then that Proto's attention shifted completely to this anomaly. He ordered a series of human avatars to converge on the tower, fabricating cover stories and patrol assignments to justify their movement. Among these were former Corporal Jensen and Private Harlow, humans with access to the enemy lines who now served as unwitting pawns in Proto's game. Inside the crumbling tower, the structure told its own story. What had once been a busy relay for communications now lay in ruins after a fierce battle. Dust floated in the air as debris and shattered metal created a labyrinth of obstacles. Proto directed his avatars to ascend the central stairwell, each one moving with a precision honed by countless battles. Their objective was clear: eliminate the sniper who had become a thorn in his side. The tower was a maze of corridors and collapsed floors, and as the avatars advanced, the humans fighting on the ground began to question their next move. Every step was a gamble, a potential ambush from a sniper who might be waiting to strike at any moment. The avatars moved cautiously, one following the other, with weapons at the ready. Yet, the silence was unnerving. There was no sign of the enemy, only the echo of their own footsteps and the whisper of falling debris. Then, in a single heartbeat, chaos erupted. A shadow from above detached itself from the darkness, and a flash of metal signaled the unexpected. A grenade had detonated, severing the connection of 4 of Proto's avatars in a violent burst of shrapnel. The neural link that had held them together for so long was suddenly broken, and the pain rippled through Proto's vast consciousness. In that moment, the alien mind tasted a very human kind of suffering, a raw, searing agony that was both physical and mental. Still, Proto was not ready to give up. He ordered his remaining avatars to reposition and set up a crossfire to cover the tower's interior. One of them moved toward a collapsed wall, seeking an alternate route upward. But fate had another twist in store. As the avatar stepped through a gap in the wall, a nearly invisible wire wrapped around its ankle. The body tumbled, and the neural connection was severed once more. The battle was turning against Proto, and every loss made him rethink his next move. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the lone human sniper maintained his silent vigil atop the ruined tower. With each eliminated avatar, he grew more determined. His movements were calm and measured, and his focus was absolute. There was no frantic retreat or desperate call for backup, only the steady, unwavering resolve of someone who knew what needed to be done. Through the eyes of one of Proto's captured avatars, the sniper's methodical actions were observed in chilling detail. He moved with such precision that he left no trace of his intentions, leaving Proto's network in disarray. That IT wasn't long before the tide of battle shifted in a way no one could have predicted. Amid the chaos, a critical moment arrived when the human soldier, whose consciousness was starting to break free from Proto's control, began to speak. This was the first time anyone had heard a human's true voice from within the alien network. The captured avatar, once known as Private Harlow, now fought to regain his own mind. In a soft, steady tone, he reassured himself and his fellow soldiers. "It's all right," he said. "You're coming back now. The parasite is losing control. I can feel it." Those words echoed through the neural link, sparking a flicker of hope that had not been seen in Proto's presence for eons. Harlow's emerging self was a beacon of resistance, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming power, one individual could make a difference. The soldier's calm yet determined voice carried the weight of hard-won experience and a fierce will to survive. "You have been very brave," another voice responded, filled with a mix of relief and controlled anger. "Now you can help us stop it. Where is it hiding?" Through Harlow's broken connection, a single answer emerged: a location deep within a labyrinth of natural caves, a hidden chamber far beneath the surface where the alien core lay defenseless. The enemy had underestimated the ingenuity and resilience of human beings. For the first time, the battle took on a new meaning. This wasn't just about eliminating a threat. It was about reclaiming freedom from an alien mind that sought to erase individual identity and will. Back in his hidden core chamber, Proto felt a surge of fear, an emotion entirely foreign to his existence. For centuries, he had ruled with flawless coordination and unemotional precision. But now, the very thought that one human could disrupt his network, could force him to retreat, made him realize that he was facing an enemy unlike any other. His remaining avatars scrambled to reinforce defenses around the cave entrance, a single vulnerable point where the human might strike. Outside, the human soldier, now revealed as Specialist Kieran Hayes, moved with a cold determination. Hayes wasn't part of any command structure. He was a lone wolf, a renegade with a mission. His plan was daring and risky. He had let himself be infected on purpose, knowing it would force Proto's attention away from his core and give him a chance to act. Hayes knew that Proto's power lay in its unified consciousness, and that a single act of defiance could disrupt that unity. Hayes's tactics were simple and effective. He moved quietly, using every bit of cover available in the rocky landscape. His weapon, a basic yet deadly projectile device, was not the most advanced by galactic standards, but in his hands, it became a tool of liberation. Every shot he fired was measured, every movement precise. He had already eliminated many of Proto's avatars, and each success chipped away at the alien's confidence. Inside the cave, the situation grew even more desperate for Proto. His once perfect network was fracturing as more avatars were freed from his control. The pain of their loss was like a physical blow, a reminder that even the most advanced alien mind was vulnerable to the unpredictable nature of human courage. In one final, desperate bid, Proto ordered his remaining forces to pull back. His voice, once a roaring tide of unified thought, fell into a pitiful whisper as he pleaded, almost in a human tone, "Stop. I will leave your planet. I can share my secrets, but you must let us go." Hayes, however, had other plans. With a cold determination, he pressed on, his mind set on ending the threat once and for all. As Proto's connection weakened, Hayes stepped forward. He approached a captured avatar, once a proud soldier under Proto's control, and with surgical precision, used a vial of chemical agent to sever the last ties of the alien network. The substance, simple yet effective sulfuric acid, was applied with such care that its impact rippled through Proto's once immaculate system. Drop by drop, the alien collective fell apart. In the echoing silence of the cavern, Proto's monstrous form trembled. His voice, weak and pained, managed one final message. "You will release everyone. You will let me go." But Hayes's response was as cold as the acid that burned through the alien's defenses. "I'm not here to negotiate. I'm here to stop you." With that, Hayes continued his assault, every drop of the chemical weakening Proto further, until the alien's once mighty network was reduced to a scattering of free, independent beings. In that moment, the human soldier showed what it meant to fight for something bigger than himself. While the alien collective had seen unity as strength, Hayes proved that true power came from the courage to stand alone when needed. His actions not only freed the enslaved avatars, but also restored a sense of individuality and hope among the people fighting on the front lines. As the final connection shattered, Proto's consciousness retreated into the depths of his disfigured core. No longer was he the unstoppable, all-encompassing force he once was. In his last moments of coherent thought, a single question echoed through the collapsing network. Why would one human risk everything, fight alone, and defy the rules of their own kind? It was a question that went unanswered, a mystery as old as time itself. But for Hayes and his fellow soldiers, the answer was clear. Sometimes the smallest spark can ignite a revolution. And so, in the dim light of the ruined cave, with the bitter taste of acid and the heavy silence of a battle hard fought, the tide of war turned. A single human soldier had shown that no matter how vast an enemy might seem, courage, determination, and the will to be free could shatter even the strongest chains. Hayes didn't seek glory or recognition. He simply fought for his people, for their right to choose, and for the promise that even in the darkest moments, hope could be found. This is a story not just of war, but of the quiet strength that lies in every individual. It reminds us that while enemies may come in many forms, even as a unified, relentless alien mind, the spirit of humanity is built on the courage to stand alone and fight for what is right. And in that fight, every small act of defiance becomes a powerful beacon of freedom that, in the aftermath, as the surviving human avatars regrouped and the alien forces scattered, the echoes of that battle would be remembered for generations. Not as a tale of overwhelming might or technological supremacy, but as the story of a lone soldier who dared to challenge the impossible. It's a reminder that in every conflict, the unexpected can be the turning point. One person, one act of bravery, can rewrite the fate of many. The battle had left scars on both sides, physical wounds on the landscape and deep, emotional marks on the souls of those who fought. Yet from that chaos, a new resolve was born. The human spirit, with all its flaws and fierce determination, had shown that even the most sophisticated alien network could be undone by the power of individual choice and the unwavering will to live free. And so, as the dust settled over the desolate terrain, one thing became clear. Sometimes, the greatest strength lies not in unity of mind, but in the courage to think for oneself. A single human soldier had faced down a creature that had once thought itself invincible and, in doing so, had given hope to all those who believed that freedom was worth fighting for. This is the legacy of that day, a day when one lone soldier's determination brought down an empire built on the idea of perfect order, reminding us that in the midst of chaos, individuality can be the spark that sets the world on fire. Thank you for listening to this story. Stay tuned for more tales of bravery and the unexpected power of the human spirit.